Welcome to my workshop. I'm here with one of my favorite little machines, the LK100. And I already did a video on why I think this is a really good machine for beginners. Because as a beginner, I have knit a lot of stuff on this. I've made countless dog sweaters. I've made shrugs. Right now I'm making a cardigan. I've made little shell tops. This machine is just so simple. And the other thing I really like about this machine is it takes the economy yarns. The most popular machine is probably the LK150. And I have one of those and I love it. But it kind of chokes on the cheaper yarns that I find piling up in my stash sometimes. When I was at my peak of crocheting, I bought a lot of Red Heart yarns when I would find them on sale, a lot of the big Karen 1-pounders, because I like to make Afghans as presents and because it's just really good busy work that I can do to keep my hands busy while I'm watching TV, which keeps me from eating while I'm watching TV. So I lost my Crojo a while back. I don't crochet near as much, but I still have all this economy yarn. And I wouldn't make like sweaters or anything out of it. But I do like it for like just your everyday scarves, your everyday hats, cardigans. I like it for, of course, blankets and things like that. So, but the problem with knitting machines is they don't always like this. And another good reason I like this is because it's great to practice on. And if you ruin it, it's not that big of a deal. But if I've paid a lot of money for something that's got silk or mohair in it, I definitely don't want to practice with that. So to me, because this machine takes the economy yarns, it's also really good for practicing because like my standard gauge machine, I have found some cheap yarns for it, but it's a little harder to find yarn for it in general unless I order it. And then I've paid quite a bit of money for it, so I really don't want to ruin it. But I can try out so many techniques on this first with my cheap yarn and, get some stuff right and get familiar with some of the things. Even though this machine is different than my standard gauge machine, which is a KH341, which is a little bit quirky because it's got the front tension on it too. But I can try different techniques out on this with the cheap yarn before I use the yarn that cost me a little bit more money on my standard gauge. And I really love that about this machine too. So this machine will definitely take your economy yarns. I can't even get my circular knitting machines, like the Addy and the Centro, to take these well. I mean, they will take them, but not well. Just like my LK150, I can force it, but I don't like to force my knitting machines. I just feel like that's hard on them, and I want to be nice to them, and I don't want them to tear up because I don't want to have to fix them. So I try to use yarns on my machines that they like and they accept well, because when I first started, one of my biggest problems was trying to force a machine to take yarn that it did not like. And I would, feel around with the tensions, and people say, oh, put more weight on it, change your tension. But it's still just, it didn't feel right to me, because I felt like I was just forcing the carriage so hard. And I felt like eventually, you know what, I just need to get a different machine if I want to use this yarn. So I did have another bulky machine, the Brother 260. And of course, it did not work out for me for a few reasons, but it would not take these yarns unless I really forced it to. And I didn't like doing that because, it was just waiting. I know it was just going to tear up on me eventually. But you can see with this Red Heart yarn, it's glides super easy. I'm not using any force at all. I will say with the LK100, it likes weights to be moved up quite a bit on the ends, or it will drop those end stitches. But if you just move these up like every 20 rows or so, you won't have a problem. I can't even remember the last time when this machine dropped a stitch. This machine will take DK yarns also. I'll just tighten up the tension a little bit so it's not super loose. I do like the bulky yarns on it a little bit better though. Just because I've got other machines that take the DK yarns and they're made for the DK yarns, where this one really just shines with those bulky yarns and the economy yarns. Now, this yarn is thick, but it still works on this machine. And if I use every other needle, it knits it beautifully. It makes a really nice fluffy edge, which I can use on my dog sweaters, or I can use them on fingerless mitts. It is nice to be able to have a machine that takes these big, soft, squishy yarns. You know, it expands the yarns I can use, and I really love that. I mean, even this yarn, it takes it really nicely, where my LK150 choked on this yarn. I thought I tore it up. It was a nightmare. It takes the economy yarns, it takes the bulky yarns, even the number 5s. And I actually think that one was a number 6. You know, if you do every other needle, and it knits so nice. So those are the yarns that you can use on the LK100. I'll be back in a couple of weeks, probably with another video on LK100, because I want to go over some things that I've discovered about it that I think it does really, really well. And then some things that it will do, but I don't think that's where it shines. But there are certain techniques that I really think this machine shines, and it does a great job. And I would like to go over those and, you know, share what I've kind of found out about that, in case you have an LK100 and you're wondering, okay, what else can I do with this machine besides just knit, stockinette? And what's going to look good? What's going to work? What accessories should I buy for it that are actually going to work for it and work well? Because I do have a couple of accessories that work on this, but it maybe doesn't work as well as I would have liked for it to, or as well as it does on the LK150. Whereas I have bought other accessories primarily for the LK150, but they also work on the LK100, and they do better on the, and it does better on the LK100. I'll go over all that in a couple of weeks with another video. But if you are getting an LK100, thinking about getting an LK100, have an LK100. Those are the yarns it works really, really good with. One more thing I will say, as far as tension goes, for the economy type yarns, it's usually somewhere between 5 and 7. But with the thicker yarn, I do typically do all the way up to a 9, an 8 or a 9 usually. Anyway, I hope that's helpful, and I hope you're getting a chance to do some knitting today. Y'all have a good one.